Hey folks, Nas here, Medieval Dynasty on the Oxbow Map. Today we are actually going to talk about the seasonal management that came to the newest update, 2.1.0.7 in Medieval Dynasty. So this is the part of the co-op update. So we're going to be talking about this, and I'm going to show you how to set it up so that way you can kind of understand how to set up your village and things like that for this new seasonal management system. So if you can either open your management screen with the letter N on the keyboard, or you can actually walk over to the building you're wanting to manage. Let me actually pull my HUD back up here. So you can actually pull up the building you want to manage just by clicking on the little banner, little board right there next to the door. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to use the herbalist hut because this is probably the simplest one to show you the range of the seasonal management system. Now you can do this on any of the buildings. I mean, you can do it on the excavation shed. You can also do it on the wood shed. I mean, literally any of the production buildings, harvesting buildings or anything like that. However, what I have learned is you cannot do it on the farm shed. And you also cannot use this system on the crops. You can change the plant type, but you can't rotate crops in a field. So if you wanted to use one field and say you wanted to plant something else in that field during the time the original crop was not in season, you can't do that. Unfortunately, when this system was mentioned, this was the first thing I thought of, was being able to rotate crops on the same planting field. So unfortunately, you still have to make a field for each thing, or you have to micromanage changing it yourself. The game is not set up right now to change it that way. However, going back to, we'll go to extraction, let's go to the herbalist hut, and on keyboard and mouse, you can either double click on this, or you can also look at the bottom of the screen, F to open details. You can change the name right there, sort the buildings, so on and so forth. So it tells you your controls at the bottom. So also it should tell you this on controller as well. That way you know which button on your controller, depending on which controller you have, to use to access these items. But anyway, I'm on keyboard mouse. I'm going to open up the herbalist hut. Now you can see that we've got the little hammer and anvil over the season that we're currently in. We're currently in summer. So we can go into here, we can open up summer, and you see here, edit assignments. So there are currently no assignments. So this is working very similar to how it worked before, but this is where it changes. It's right about here. So you can hit C to open that, or you can actually click the button if you're on mouse and keyboard. And then you get this assignment selection here. So obviously the items in red are items that I have not paid to unlock the recipes for. The items in black I have unlocked or are unlocked. And you'll notice that there's automatically a bunch of X's in the spots to where things are seasonal already in the game. So you cannot pick berries in the spring. But they're only available in the summer. So obviously you can't, if you are collecting berries for whatever reason, maybe you're making blueberry pie, or maybe you're using the berries to turn it into fertilizer or whatever. But the only option that you have would be to check summer. Then you see you still have no assignments, even though you selected, oh, I want to choose berries. Well, I want to change the intensity. Well, you can't change the intensity yet. If you look at the bottom of the screen, it says C for accept assignments. Now you can click it with your mouse, you can hit C or whatever the corresponding button it tells you at the bottom of the screen. So you're going to be using a lot of the controls at the bottom of the screen from now on for the assignment selections and setting the selections. I'm currently going to hit C. Now it brings the berries over here. Now you can see it's also paused. It has no intensity. There is no zero intensity. So in other words, even though I've got it selected to pick them, they're not going to pick any berries until I change that intensity. Now, to change the intensity, you used to be able to grab this bar and slide it with your mouse. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the button would have been for controller. If somebody knows, tell me in the comments below. However, even with mouse and keyboard, they've changed this. So down at the bottom of the screen, you can see it says change intensity. We have to hit F. Now we're able to change the intensity. Now, you still cannot drag it with the mouse on mouse and keyboard. You have to use the A and D keys down here at the bottom of the screen. So we can actually go with D and we can hold that intensity. You can also notice that we have the minus and plus keys. Now that we just changed the intensity a little bit, we can even further fine-tune the intensity of the individual item. And I'll show you that even more. But we're going to set that at 47, and then down at the bottom of the screen, you have to hit F to confirm this. Otherwise, it's not going to save it. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to go back into the herbalist hut. We're going to go back into assignments. I was lost myself for just a second. You got to click edit assignments every time you want to see this screen. So I'm actually going to turn off berries, accept assignments, and I'm going to choose something that I'm currently using in the game, which is broadleaf plantains and dandelions, along with potions of healing. Now, granted, if you want to make potion of healing 1 or 2 or whatever item, you can select for them to make it all year long. Obviously, there's no seasonal restriction on these potions unless you place the restrictions on them. Now, what I would like to do is, you see that we can collect broadleaf plantains 3 times a year. So we can do it in spring, summer, autumn. Dandelions, spring and summer only. So what we could do here is we could only collect broadleaf in the spring and autumn, so twice a year. And then we can collect dandelion, spring and summer. So in the spring, let's go ahead and select that. Actually, let's turn this. We're going to turn this off for just a second. We'll come back to those. So broadleaf plantain, we're going to accept that assignment. Now we are currently in the summer, which is only dandelion. Remember, we selected that in the assignment screen. Now, if we select spring, you can see broadleaf and dandelion come up. Now we're going to actually work on this assignment for now. So this is strictly the spring assignment. So what we want to do is at the bottom of the screen, we want to change the intensity. So now we've hit F, or I've hit F, or clicked the change intensity, and we can change the intensity. Now we can take this up to 100%, A and D. Sorry, I already even forgot about that myself. I'm just so used to dragging that bar. If we want to, we can take this up to 100%. That is fine. Now, you see that dandelion did not change. Only broadleaf plantain is at 100%. So what we want to do, because we have it at 100%, what did I do? Change intensity. I accidentally double clicked. Alrighty, so change intensity, we have to lower the broadleaf. So we don't want 200 and something broadleaf. We're only going to be making maybe, and this is per day. Remember that these are per day. So it's going to do this every day of that season, however long your seasons are. So we're going to lower this down. I only wanted to collect like 2 broadleaf plantains a day. Can I get it down that far? Okay. So there we go. We get it down to 1%. Now we can click over here to dandelion. You can see we have the plus arrow now for dandelion. I believe it takes 2 dandelion and 1 broadleaf plantain to make the potion of healing 1. I want to have extra broadleaf plantains and dandelion in case I need to make extra myself during the season. So what I want to do is bring this up, double that if I can. Okay, it's 5. That's going to be the only way I can double that. Then we can accept the, confirm the intensity. So we click F, or you click the option at the bottom of the screen, or whatever your corresponding button is. Now we have this set. So we're going to be collecting 2 of those for, what is that, spring. Then we come over here and I can collect extra here. Now granted, we're going to change the intensity again at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to increase this. We are going to only collect 5.47 for the dandelion, and then we can confirm the intensity. Then we go to fall. You can see I'm only collecting the broadleaf on the fall. If you remember in the original selection over on the left-hand side of the screen, I only selected to collect 1 item of these each season it was available. So on this one here, we're going at the bottom of the screen, change intensity. We're going to bring this up, and we're just going to bring this up to 2.34. Because I don't need a bunch of healing potions. Now granted, if you wanted to collect more and sell the extra, you can do that. This is just my game that I'm talking about right now. This is showing you how to set this up. And then we're going to confirm the intensity on that. And then winter time, we have nothing because nothing grows in the winter. So we can't collect anything in the winter. So we go back to the assignments. We're going to click the little box here for the assignments. Then what I want to do is I want to add in the potion of healing 1. Now what we can do is I can just let them collect the herbs, and then I could just have her make them in the winter. So my days are 6 days long. They're collecting enough items to make 1 healing potion a day and have extra materials stockpiling. So if I'm doing 1 a day and I've got 6-day seasons, then I can have them just making the potions in the winter so they stay busy in the winter. So that's going to be 6 times 3, which is 18. So I'm going to have them making roughly 18 to 20 healing potions in the winter. Now divide that by 6, and that's going to be 3. That's going to be 3 a day. So that way they just stay busy. They don't have to stand around or nothing like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. We're going to accept the assignments. We're going to go to winter because we're only going to be making healing potions in the winter. That way they stay busy. Now we're going to, down at the bottom, change intensity. And we're going to bring this back up. And again, they're only going to be making these potions per day in the winter. And my days are 6 days long. And I want it to be 3. Okay, so it's going to be 3.46 a day. So that way I'm going to have roughly, 20, give or take. Actually, I may have almost 21 healing potions at the end of winter. And that should be plenty for me because I don't typically use them a whole lot. Now, granted, if you find that you're using more healing potions, obviously you set this how you want. But this is how we want to confirm the intensity. This is how you want to set up your assignments for the herbalist hut. So now you can see, you can see that they are working on picking dandelions, and they will only pick dandelions this month, or this season, not this month, this season. Spring, they're going to be doing broadleaf and dandelion, and they pick them accordingly per the day. So that way they stay busy. They constantly have assignments. The herbalist hut does not actually require a tool to harvest the herbs, so you don't necessarily need to factor that in. But this is how you set up your assignments, and you can do this for any building. Again, like the kitchen would probably be another building I could think of that you'd want to set this up in. If you're doing seasonal crops, then you probably want to make seasonal foods. And you can do that same thing here. As long as you have all of your stuff set up, you can have stew one season, you can have your meat and gravy a different season. So maybe meat and gravy would be, let's say, in the winter time. And then you maybe have potage in the spring and summer and stew in the autumn. You can set all of that up. And this is how you do that. And it's actually really nice. That way you don't just have one intensity for every item in the game. You can actually set the individual intensities for each item that you're doing each season. So if we go back into the herbalist hut, go back into, where did I have that? Right there, spring. You can see that I've set 2 different intensities, but yet there's one major intensity. That way you can you can harvest the items you need to harvest, or you can produce the things you need to produce, even if you're producing or harvesting multiple items in a season. But anyway, folks, that is how you access and set up your new seasonal management for your village in the Oxbow. Now this works the same way. I say Oxbow. This works the same way. I'm trying to turn around, show my pretty face. Gotta have my pretty face on screen. But this works the same way in the Valley map as it does in the Oxbow map. So this way you can get your village set up and have it running nice and smoothly with all of these different settings. Just keep in mind, does not work on the farming plots. I'm really bummed about that. I was hoping that it would, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that like to, or that do, they may not like it, but they do micromanage their crops. So in other words, when they have one crop that doesn't, or one field that doesn't have something to plant one season, they will plant a different season's crop in that field and then switch back in the particular season. So I don't do this, so it's hard for me to explain, because I don't micromanage my crops like that. I have one field, it has one crop, that's it. If it's not the season for it to get planted, it doesn't get a crop in it. So, but I know that there are people that don't want to do that. I've seen the comments and everything. But anyway, now you know how to use the seasonal management in Medieval Dynasty. If you are liking these guides and my episodes, definitely click that like button. Special thank you to my members. You should be able to see them on the screen. Make sure you check out the video here, and we will see you folks in the next one. You take care and happy hunting.